So last night I saw Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson's new movie, Babygirl. I would say overall that I give the movie about a 6 out of 10. The movie was written and directed by Helena Rain, a female writer-director. We love to see stuff like that. I previously made a video on my YouTube channel called Why is Nicole Kidman in Everything? It's because she don't give a fuck. She's just out here working, trying to get in as many projects as she can. I forget where she said this, but she made a promise that she was going to be in female-led projects like writer-directors. It was either one a year or one every 2 years or something like that. So this, I believe, is one of those projects, female-led projects, that she decided to work on. Now, while they're marketing this movie as an erotic thriller, as someone who's a huge fan of erotic thrillers, especially from the 90s and 2000s, there's nothing thriller about this. It seemed like they kind of were leading to that, but it didn't actually get there. The story revolves around Nicole Kidman's character Romy and Harris Dickinson's character Samuel. She is a high-powered boss babe working as like a CEO or something at a huge company in New York City. Samuel is an intern who gets a job at her company. It doesn't take long for them to start to notice each other, and eventually they lead an affair. Supposedly Romy grew up in cults and she might have a history of SA in her life. The film insinuates that she has some kind of addiction. She watches like porn a lot, and she also is always thinking about, you know, the deed. My big issue that I had about this movie is that it did have like a build-up, like a crescendo, but as we get to the movie where something is supposed to happen, nothing happens. Like, it just literally poof, and then it just like goes away. Like, the movie doesn't actually climax or go anywhere. I've seen some people saying that this movie is more of like a character study, and I could definitely see it more as a slice of life type of film. But I don't like that the film didn't show us anything, teach us anything, tell us anything, that there really wasn't even a kind of opinion, or like the movie wasn't trying to say something. And like, you know, I guess maybe all movies don't have to do that, but like I said, I don't like the disappearing climax of like where things go. The way the movie was edited, it seemed to like cut off scenes, jump back and forth between time. I don't know if that was a way to show Romy's character how confused she was and how she was losing gaps in time. It was very clear from the movie that she had some kind of intense psychological traumas that perhaps may create these gaps in time. I do want to shout out the director for including visuals of Romy getting EMDR therapy, and if you don't know what that is, you might not notice it in the movie, but as someone who has done EMDR, and it really saved me from the edge, the fact that it showed her regularly going to therapy and doing EMDR just kind of shows how the traumas that she went through in her life like completely are still affecting her to this day. I also like during this movie that when they were showing Samuel and Romy, seemingly like they were both interested in some kind of BDSM sub and dom relationship, that they didn't depict Samuel as some kind of expert, as some kind of pro, and they didn't show Romy as a pro either. It's like she didn't really know what she wanted, he didn't really know what he wanted. And I remember when they were in a hotel room and he was trying to tell her like, get over here, like get on your knees, like, you know, he's trying to tell her what to do. He kept laughing because it was almost like it wasn't natural to him to do, and he was trying to step into that role. And I thought that really does speak to X activity with adults. It's not always like in the movies where it's like this passionate, like sometimes you laugh, sometimes you don't know if you're doing something right, sometimes it's awkward. Like, I also want to shout out Sophie Wilde, who was in the movie. She played like the head of the interns. I think she was like the assistant of Romy. Her role was never really discussed, but shout out to her because she's starting to get more and more roles, and she's a fantastic actress. She's probably most known for the Talk to Me movie with the hand, the horror movie. Romy's character, her boss, kept trying to she kept asking for a raise, she kept asking for a promotion, and Romy just kept putting it off. You know, she's too busy, you know, hooking up with the intern, and, you know, sleeping around, doing all this stuff that she's not even paying attention to what's going on in front of her. And I love the scene where she confronts Romy about what she's doing, you know, and she's like, dang, I thought women in power would be different, which, I don't know, I kind of dislike that message that the movie sent, but I do like that she said, look, I have no interest in destroying your life. I just want to get what I deserve, and you need to give me what I deserve, and you need to do it right now. Also starring in this movie, Esther McGregor, Ewan McGregor's daughter. I'm not saying anything else. While I did like the innocence of Samuel's character when he was experimenting with being the dom for Romy's character, I did feel like they gave him like a lot of confidence that I don't know if it came off realistic, because there were certain times when he just, like, I actually didn't know what his purpose was. Like, what did he really want? Like, they made him kind of out to be a little bit sociopathic, a little bit manipulative and mischievous. And I just feel like they didn't give us enough background information on him. I guess maybe it doesn't really matter. But I noticed that the clothes that they was putting him in, and like how they would bring him like she would bring him to like these really nice places, and he was just like in awe. And I was like, okay, so this is basically like a dusty ass young boy from Brooklyn or Long Island or something. I was like, you know what? This just proves my theory. Dusties have the best D. Dusties have the best D. I'm sorry, they have the all right, this is getting unprofessional. I'm sorry. This scene where he sends her over the milk, I felt like that was very like pro. Like, that came off to me like someone who knows exactly what they're doing, and not someone who's like still young and trying to figure it out. I do like that they showed the aspect that there could be an age gap relationship that is based on and that it could be consensual. As someone who was a New York city girl running about the streets, I dated an older man or two in my life, and it was very much consensual. I knew what I was doing. I know that all situations are not like that, and those types of relationships are not for everybody. And I feel like that's something that's not often talked about in these conversations about age gaps. It's not for everybody, and you have to be careful, they have to be careful, whatever. But I like that they showed that they were both consenting and knew what was going on. This scene was so interesting, how, you know, she was having a fantasy. What made her, when they showed her with her husband in the end, you know, sleeping, they showed her being treated like a dog is what made her, I don't know, have her first O with her husband. I mean, I like the imagery, but I also don't like the message behind it, because then it's kind of like, okay, so what it just kind of perpetuates the stereotype that women want to be subjugated. In the end of the day, even if we're high powered, and I mean, I guess in a certain sense that's true. If I think about my own self, like when I'm at work, in film production stuff, I do take on like a very strongly masculine energy. And if I'm in the bedroom, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. So maybe the truth and what I wish is the truth is not lining up. I don't know. But guys, please go see this movie in theaters. We need mid-budget movies to do well. We need female director, female written movies to do well. I saw this movie on Tuesday for $8 and change. You bring a friend, y'all can split the $10 popcorn and the drink, and y'all can both go see a movie for $20. Please go back to the theater. Check this one out.